All right, thanks for stopping by. Happy Tuesday. So, I really have nothing planned to do today. I mean, I'll take a bike ride later, but other than that, I've got all my chores done. First thing this morning, I got on top of the van, cleaned the solar panels, and right now I've got a mid-sized power station out here charging up off of a portable solar panel. And once we get that done, I think we'll go take a bike ride. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just give you a shot of what it's like living in the woods all the time. Here we go. I love this little UPS power station. I think it's 595 watt hour. We're up to 85% charged. Bringing in about 70 watts right now. Clouds keep passing by. But I keep this over it just to keep the sun off of it. And I love this X-Star panel. I've had it a couple of years. It looks just like the Jackery panel, except it's blue instead of orange. Very similar material. It's 100 watt max. The highest I've seen wattage wise was 84, which is really good for a 100 watt panel. And there's the clouds coming up again. So I'll only be getting about 40 watts in the clouds. Let's jump up on top of the van. Let's see what kind of job I did. Oh, and I want to show you about my WeBoost antenna. That's it there. It usually sits, it's got a magnet on the bottom of it. And it usually stays right there. But I noticed that when I move it up here and I turn it sideways, I get way better signal. Okay, and the panels are looking pretty good now. Cleaned them first thing this morning. They were very dusty. Anytime I drive in this dirt road to get to this place, the panels get really dusty. And another thing I wanted to tell you about, if you're thinking about mounting your MaxxAir fan here like I did instead of on the roof, make sure you close it before you go down a dirt road so the dust doesn't have that backdraft, So you can probably see the lid moving under there. I think you can see that. So I'm just closing it right here. There we go. And then you lock it like that before you drive down a dirt road. Don't forget, like I did, because I had a lot of dust blow in. One time's all it took. And now I remember to always close that before I go off driving down a dirt road. And this screen here is just a roll of screen you get at Walmart. And I just cut it a little larger than the opening. And I just use some magnets around the sides there. And that keeps the bugs out. Got a lot of utility stuff going on here. Got my shovel. I use these boards that I put under the wheels when I'm not level that I can drive up on to get me level, but don't need them today. I bought a new thing of bungee cords at Harbor Freight about a week ago. All of these are starting to fray, so I just wanted to be prepared when these end up breaking. I'll have some to fall back on. But see, this used to have a black plastic cover that went over it, the whole door. But I popped that off so I can use these little nooks and crannies to store things. I did the same on this door. I got my dartboard in there. I guess I'll give you a shot of that. See? It fits in this huge opening here. So that works out good just to have that. Let me get this put back together here. Okay. So once I get this charged up and put away, I think we'll go down this way where the road forks. Last time we took it to the right. I think this time we'll go to the left and see if there's other camping sites down there. It seems like the closer you get to the interstate, the better the cell signal. And as long as you get like a half a mile away from the interstate, you don't really hear it as much because of all the tree cover. Kind of blocks down the sound of the big trucks. Oh, and I went down to this other campsite down here that I left my orange cones at when I saw the guy return to his camp. So I rode down there on the bike and I pull up. I said, hey, sorry to bother you, but I was wondering, I was camping here about a week or so ago and I drove off and accidentally left 3 small orange cones. I was hoping you'd seen them. This guy was so drunk or whatever, he could only grunt. It was kind of like, am I talking with a Neanderthal or what's going on here? But he was like, I haven't seen him, you know, and then he just crawls back in his van. He was out of it. So, you know, if he did find him, then there he is now. I'm not going back over there. Leaving that guy alone. Just to lay in his van and get wasted. The more I stay at this campsite, the more I like it. Even though it's a little closer to the main forest road than I like. What is that? Probably 75 yards. I like to be about 100 yards off of a dusty road. But you can't have it all. My neighbor down here, that's a good site, but there's also another little road that runs down this way, and he's only like 10 yards from it. But I've only seen one car go down that road since I've been here, and they were leaving. It was a Toyota 4Runner pulling a small travel trailer. It was so small, and it was just tall enough where you could sit in it, but you couldn't stand in it. You know, it's one of those overlanding kind of trailers with the big mud tires on it. They came out from way down in that direction, and they came out here and they took a right on accident because they came right over here and they turned around and went back out, because that's the way you go out to the interstate. And we've got a van that's almost just like the Matty Wagon right there. Let me try to zoom in. But it's the extended kind. The kind like Ray Ray has from Van Life Rocks YouTube channel. It looks like his van, except I think his has windows and that one's just cargo. But that would be great to have that extra length. I would have much less difficulty storing the e-bike in the trunk of the van. But the only bad thing about those vans, the turning radius on them is terrible. Hard to get into a parking lot, you know. Just the turning radius is so bad because the way Chevy and GMC do their extended vans, they actually move the wheelbase back. You know, the old Ford Econolines, all they did was just put on an extra 16 inches of length in the back behind the rear wheels. That's all they did. They didn't worry about, you know, weight distribution the way they should have. So GM does it the right way, but the bad thing is it makes the turning radius terrible on those vans. But they're great vans, and they're as long as a limousine. I think they're 16 or 18 inches longer than the standard van like I have. But that's a nice van there. I love the Chevy Express and the GMC Savannahs. Nothing fancy about them at all. They haven't changed the things in 20 years, but they are tried and true. We used to have them at the company I worked for. We had a fleet of vans. And when I was working logistics in the office, we had over 100 fleet vans nationwide, and we always used the Chevy Expresses and never gave us any trouble. And the last year I was there, we switched over to the ProMasters. And it was like every week one of the technicians was calling in saying, I can't finish my route because my van's broke down. It was some kind of electrical problem or transmission problem with so many of those vans. But that was the first generation. They may have straightened that problem out in the last few years. I think I've heard that they're much better now. Like if you get like a 2019 or on up to 2023, they're much better quality than they started out being. But if you want to start van life on a budget, just get yourself a Chevy Express or GMC Savannah. They're exactly the same thing. Savannah's the GMC, Express is the Chevy. It's the exact same van. Back in the day, the GMC was kind of like the upgrade, but not today. They're exactly the same. Probably in the last 7 years, they're identical. It's just the grill is different, you know. And used to, you could only get these modern headlights on the GMC, but you can get them on the Chevy Express now. All right, that's enough for today. I guess we'll do the bike ride video tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. Take care, be well, and smash the bell.